Fit Nation, it is day 38 of the challenge, and your numbers should be in your inbox by now. If they're not, make sure you check your junk mail, make sure you check your trash. Not your trash, I'm sorry, your spam. So check those two areas. It's very possible it's in there. It's happened to others. You should have your new numbers today, and they more than likely changed. Okay, so hooray for you. Maybe you're happy about that. Maybe you're not. Anyways, all right. How do you know the difference between DOMS and a minor injury? So DOMS being delayed onset muscle soreness is it's the term or the acronym that's used for the muscles being sore after you work out. Okay. Now, typically speaking, you get sore the next day, but some people get sore the second day after they work out. I don't really know why that is, why it's the second day. I've heard or I've read before that it's due to poor or not optimal nutrition or recovery. So it's not, I shouldn't say nutrition, it's not just nutrition. It could be sleep, it could be various factors. But basically there basically has to be enough sufficient recovery until you feel the actual soreness. So it's just something that people notice either the day after or the following day. I rarely get it 2 days after, but every once in a while I do. But for the most part, for me, 99.9% of the time, it is the next day. All right, so how do you know the difference? Well, it's hard to tell if you're not somebody who is training or has been training for years and years and years and knows their body really, really well. But here are just a few notes that you can sort of take away. With DOMS, you're going to have, as I said, soreness in the muscle, throughout the muscle, the next day or the day after, okay? And that soreness will subside as time goes on. It's not going to get worse. It won't stagnate. It will just get better, okay? And then typically with that soreness comes some tightness as well. And you can actually enhance this, or you can help to lower the symptoms of DOMS by just getting blood flow to the area on a repeated basis. So I wouldn't obviously recommend doing anything strenuous, but if you were to do things like ice and heat to the affected muscle, or if you were to just flush it with blood. So another way you could do that, let's say you have sore legs, you could ride the bike, right? So it doesn't have to be anything strenuous, but you could ride the bike, and then that will get some blood flow through the muscles. I would even think that some very light weight training for muscles when they're sore would be good. Very light, just enough to get some blood flow through the area. Because with blood flow comes, all the, with blood comes the facilitation of all the nutrients, right? That's going to help to recover the tissue at hand, okay? All right, so with minor injury, what are you going to see? You will typically know when you have a minor injury because you'll feel it right in the spot. For example, yesterday I tweaked my lower back. It doesn't typically happen to me, but it did happen, and it happened yesterday, and I knew exactly when it happened because I felt it right away. It wasn't like a sudden craziness, but it was enough where I was like, okay, I just pulled something. So typically speaking, you will feel it right when it happens, okay? Not always. So like things like bursitis and tendonitis, that just slowly comes on over time. But with other injuries like minor tears and such, you will notice it right away, okay? Generally, the injury is very acute and directed. So what I mean by that is you're going to notice in a certain position, or if you do a certain thing, that you get an extreme, not extreme, but you get a very, noticeable pain, and it's usually sharp. Okay, not always, but you know that can often be it. Like with general muscle soreness, you're not going to get that. Okay, you might get some swelling. All right, so if you get some swelling, let's say around the joint, then for sure there's been some irritation to the joint or to wherever the injury is. And generally speaking, with minor injuries, they're going to last longer than what DOMS would. So DOMS typically is 2 to 5 days. You know, within 2 to 5 days of working out, you're fully recovered. With a minor injury, you're going to notice that after 5 days, you're still feeling the injury. Okay. Is it possible for DOMS to go over 5 days? Yes, I've had it where it's gone, you know, maybe 6 or 7 days, but it's very, very rare. Okay. All right. Somebody wrote me and said that they get a sore neck after they train when they do upper arm workouts. So I'm not quite sure if they're talking about like specifically about like the upper arm or if they mean upper body. So maybe you want to clarify that for me. But you did say upper arm, so I'm guessing bicep tricep work. But let me know, and then I can maybe address this. Okay. I've just never had anybody say. I've had people say that with upper body. I've never had them say that with upper arm. So just clarify that for me. Somebody is having problems with their fat intake when they cook. All right, so they're typically using, I think they wrote about half a tablespoon of oil when they cook. All right, so if this is adding up to your fats, all the cooking that you're doing, you know, just get a non-stick spray. You know, generally speaking, with something like, you know, you can get a coconut oil PAM spray. And if you just spray that over the pan, you're going to get like 1 or 2 grams of fat max. Okay, as opposed to, I think you'd mentioned 7.5 grams of fat. That is the easiest way to do. Okay, just get a spray oil. Okay, I'm a fan of, like I said, coconut oil. It's very stable to cook with. It is a saturated fat. It's the best kind of fat. Any saturated fat is the best kind of fat to cook with. Okay. All right. Almost 8 minutes here, so let's get to the message of the day. And of course, last week was the week that you would not quit, and of course, this week you're not going to quit. But this is one saying that I really wanted to throw in on the week of quitting, and it goes like this. Do you know what the difference is between a master and a beginner? Some of you have heard this before, I'm sure. Do you know what the difference is between a master and a beginner? If you don't, the master has failed more times than the beginner has even tried. I'll say it again. The master has failed more times than the beginner has even tried. You've got to keep trying. Nothing of any great value comes easily. And certainly nothing of any great value comes without trying and trying and trying and trying and trying. And you got to keep trying. Okay? So do not give up. Do not feel, well, sometimes you might feel a little bit, you know, deflated in your efforts, and that's normal. But this is just, you know, temporary emotion that will go away. And it's not necessarily reflective of reality, right? It's not reflective of reality. It's not actually what's going on. It's normal for everybody to go through things over and over and over again and maybe not quite succeed. Things take a lot of time, a lot of effort, and with that, a lot of bumps in the road, okay? Positive energy, positive vibes, believe in yourself, and for the love of God, give some gratitude, and I'll talk to you all